Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're looking at something that is absolutely going to flip the way you view power, scale, and the natural world. We are exploring a deeply mind-bending historical and philosophical paradox. It's a concept that takes us from the ancient sands of Egypt straight into the microscopic data networks of modern science. The title of our explainer today is The Ant That Destroyed a Palace. Okay, let's dive right into this. How exactly did an ant destroy Pharaoh's palace? Now, this seemingly impossible feat is drawn straight from a really fascinating piece of source material, Said Nursi's Tabiat Risalasi. And when we first hear a statement like this, our brains just immediately reject it. We think about the physics, we think about basic reality, and it just doesn't compute. But as you'll see, this isn't just some poetic myth. It is a profound lesson on the very nature of unseen power. Section 1. The Ant and the Palace, Scale and Reality. Before we can even begin to resolve this paradox, we need to truly appreciate the massive disparity in scale we're dealing with here. So on one side, you have the tiny ant. It has a minuscule physical body, it's completely vulnerable, and frankly, it is mathematically insignificant compared to literally any human architectural feat. Then on the other side, you have Pharaoh's palace, a magnificent, massive structure that represents the absolute pinnacle of human engineering and concentrated power in the ancient world. The disparity is staggering. The power to bring down this palace absolutely could not have come from the ant's tiny physical frame. So, if not from its body, where on earth did it come from?
Let's move to and see how this builds in Section 2. The Soldier and the Sultan, a Structural Analogy. To make sense of the ant's impossible achievement, Nursi provides us with a brilliant structural analogy. Think of a single soldier standing totally alone. Stripped of his uniform and his unit, he's just a regular human subject to entirely normal physical limitations. If you ask a lone man to go conquer a nation, it's impossible. But once that exact same soldier is enlisted, acting under a sultan and connected to an entire army, he is completely transformed. He can march right into a throne room and capture a king, going from an isolated, physically weak individual to a virtually unstoppable force.
So, the crucial point is understanding the mechanics of state power. That soldier who captures a king is obviously not literally carrying the whole military machine on his back, right? Nor is he magically physically stronger than he was yesterday. His actions are backed entirely by the state. His power is achieved purely through connection. And this maps perfectly back to our ant. The ant didn't bring down the palace through immense muscular force. Just like the enlisted soldier, the ant was acting under divine command, drawing its immense power from the authority and the massive system it was securely connected to. All right, Section 3, The Biology of Power, Modern Science. Now, it's one thing to discuss abstract philosophy, but biological realities actually validate this exact concept 50 times. An ant can literally carry 50 times its own body weight. This is a staggering biological fact that firmly grounds our philosophy in concrete science. Even on a purely physical level, the ant has capabilities far exceeding what its minuscule frame might suggest. But you see, the physical strength is just the surface. The real power, very much like that massive army backing the enlisted soldier, lies in hidden connections. When we analyze network systems in nature, the parallels to our own tech are just astounding. Think about it. Ant colonies coordinate perfectly without a central commander, entirely through pheromone signals. In system theory, this is the exact equivalent of TCP/IP network protocols, seamlessly routing data across the internet. The decentralized biological colony operates identically to a massively complex distributed system in computer science. And all of this incredible software runs on the foundational DNA framework. Millions of tiny, individually weak ants are actively executing complex mathematical dimensions and physical laws to create a perfect order, tapped into a vast, entirely invisible network.
Moving on to Section 4, Naming the Paint, the Origin of Order.
Okay, so we've established the incredible biological mechanisms that give these tiny creatures such immense power. But we can't just stop at a purely reductionist view. The massive question remains, who programmed that coordination? Sure, we can map out the TCP/IP-like pheromone trails all day long, but pointing out a perfect order that nobody separately designed doesn't explain how the order actually got there in the first place. We still absolutely must account for its origin. And this brilliantly illustrates a really powerful metaphor from Said Nursi. He says, explaining pheromones is like explaining a painting by naming the paint. Think about that. If you stand in front of an absolute masterpiece and you just read me the chemical composition of the red and blue pigments on the canvas, you haven't actually explained the painting at all. You've merely described the physical mechanism and completely missed the artist who created it. Describing a physical law or mapping out a biological network doesn't actually explain the ultimate source of its magnificent design.
Which brings us to our final section, Section 5, Connected to the Source, Ultimate Reality.
Now, what's really interesting about synthesizing all of this, the biology, the system theory, and those amazing analogies, is that it brings us to one massive overarching truth. True power is derived not from individual physical strength or size, but entirely from the ultimate source to which one is connected. The ant that destroyed Pharaoh's palace absolutely didn't do it because it was some kind of giant, super strong mutant ant. Just like the enlisted soldier, it was acting under a divine command, tapped into a source infinitely larger than itself. Size and physical strength are merely illusions. Connection is the ultimate reality here.
So I want to leave you with this final thought-provoking question. If a creature this incredibly small can carry a power this unimaginably large, what does that tell you about being connected to the right source yourself? It fundamentally challenges us to step back and really think about where our own strength actually comes from. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer and diving deep into the hidden realities of our universe. Keep questioning, keep connecting the dots, and I will see you next time.